This operational video by Nuolver is on the continued operation of the machine. In this video, we'll show you how to soft and hard freeze. Thank you for watching this video on Nuolver and how to do soft and hard freezing. We've already shown you how to do soft and hard chilling, so it's very similar for soft and hard freezing. But prior to showing you how to do it, which you've already showed you in the chilling, I just want to discuss something or tell you something about soft freezing. What is soft freezing? It's not freezing things to a certain temperature which is not quite frozen. It's for actually a certain product that we don't often put in a blast chiller. Hot food to be frozen. Normally when you put food in a blast chiller to be frozen, it's already at ambient temperature or at 3 degrees temperature, or even maybe -2 or -1. But hard freezing is what you use for doing those sort of things. Soft freezing is for hot food, such as casseroles, pies, maybe some takeaway food, maybe food made for nursing homes that need to be frozen for long periods of time, or Meals on Wheels, or just for general takeaway, or making foods to go into supermarket shelves as frozen products. Soft freezing is wonderful. Why? Because soft freezing has a 2-step program, specifically for chilling first and then freezing without the intervention of human hands, which can pass over germs and bacterial problems onto the food. So you put the food in hot, ready to be frozen, and you just press soft freezing. Once you press soft freezing and press start, the machine will run from a core temperature of +90 or a time down to a core temperature of +20, and then it automatically turns into a freezing cycle which brings it down from +20 to -18 core temperature. It's important to remember in freezing that the delta, or the difference between the temperature of the food and the temperature of the air, is vital. And these particular cycles are perfect for freezing any type of food. Nuolver ensures that these deltas are perfect at all times. Give you an example. If I put pies in here to be frozen when they were hot and put in hard freezing, the machine would struggle, but it would do it. It would bring the temperature down of the air from, say, 4 or 5 degrees where it started to -40 degrees. The delta would be 40 back to 0 plus whatever the temperature is of the core of the food above that. So I would imagine that a pie, when it's been sitting in here for half an hour with the air temperature getting down from 4 to -40, would get down to approximately 50 degrees core temperature. The outside would already be cold. But what would happen is, because there's such a large delta of 90 degrees, the macrocrystallization would form, not microcrystallization is what you require. Because if things are frozen with microcrystallization, which they are in a Nuolver blast chiller, you will have long-term use of that product. Pies are a good example with a cooked product because they have 2 types of pastry. A watercrust pastry on the inside, or the base of the pie, the filling of course, and then a puff pastry on the top. And when it's first cooked, the puff pastry is very voluminous. It's quite convex in its shape. When it's normally cooled down in a normal way, the pastry is very flaky and it goes concave, and the pastry on the inside is wet, and sometimes the meat is dry after a period of time. But if you use the soft freezing cycle on the pie, you'll end up with a convex pastry, a beautiful crusty pastry with the meat filling which is juicy and tasty for weeks and months ahead of time. So these 2 cycles are perfectly prepared for that. We will also show you, like in the chilling cycle, on the side here, we can go to a sub-menu. And you can see here there are various things to be frozen. So we can this machine was perfectly set up for ice cream. This machine is perfectly set up for fresh pasta to freeze. But if I go back to the original cycle here, the soft and hard freezing. Hard freezing is for all food which is already at an ambient temperature or raw. Soft freezing is all for warm to hot food that needs to be frozen. Don't put hot food in and press hard freezing. It won't be quicker. It'll be just the same cycle as this. However, it will be damaged, and you don't want damaged food, because you bought a blastula so you wouldn't have damaged food. So if we go to soft freezing as an example, I'll show you here. It shows the previous cycle that was up here. Don't worry about that. That will change when you press the start button. We can press the start button, holding it for a couple of seconds, and it will start, and straight away you'll see soft freezing up here. It'll come up with a fan starting here, up to 100%, and a time. It allots 4 hours and 30 minutes. Not the 4 hours, because it's giving you 30 minutes of chilling and 4 hours of freezing, which is the HACCP guidelines for chilling and freezing. This gives you the best of both worlds. You can go into the information and you can see what's going on at a particular time. What's going on with the machine, the room temperature, the food temperature, the core temperature, the time, the date, and the progress of the cycle. It can also show the last cycle and anything that happened. Also the time and the date. If you come out of that, that's just for information. But if you wanted to look at and possibly change something, you'll see here, we're now on a core probe cycle, so it'll show you that 30 degrees core temperature with a temperature of 0, not minus, 0. And then down to minus 18 core temperature with minus 30 degrees. You can change that if you wish, because these industrial machines can go down to minus 36 to minus 40. So if you're freezing something like, as an example, on hard freezing of tuna, you'll need minus 35, so you could come in and you'd change this. If you do change it, you can change it just for that cycle. You can press the green button and change it forever. Don't press the green button there, the saving button, if you don't want this to save for the following cycle. Just change the numbers, which are very easy. If you click on that, it'll come up with a numbered keyboard, and you can just delete that and put something else into. I don't want to do that at this moment, so I just press escape. Come back out, and my cycle is running. So you can see the temperature of the food is 2.1 and the air temperature is only minus 2. The compressor will cut in and out depending on this temperature, but it's going to try to get to 0. So you might be able to hear the fans working right now, but the compressor is not working because the air temperature is minus 2.2 and doesn't need to operate. You can change the speed of the fans if you want to by just clicking on the blue line, and that'll change it down to 80%. And you can hear the fans slow down, or back up to 100%. And you can hear the fans increase. You can also change the time, and as I've shown you on soft chill, you could actually make this cycle up to forever. That's 23 hours now. If I just bring it for a little one bit more, I can get 4 days or 96 hours of constant freezing. Now this might be good if you're wanting to put things in and out of here, but you must be aware of the core temperature of the food, because it must be at minus 18 to make sure the product is fully frozen. Now, one thing that's very important with freezing, and people don't understand this, they think because the air temperature is at minus 40, I can put the product in there and it can be frozen really quickly. Well, really quickly depends on how you're thinking. Really, this machine will do it as quick as possible, physically possible. What happens is that when the air temperature gets down to 0, or the core temperature gets down to 0, and the air temperature gets down to 0, there's a small lag time. And this lag time is because, like a thermos flask keeps food hot or keeps food cold for a period of time, just the physics of food means that there's a small area of time that lags, that nothing happens. So the core temperature cannot get below from 0 to minus 6 or minus 8 sometimes in a short period of time. It takes a long time no matter what. So when it goes from plus 90 to 0, it might, let's just say that takes an hour, as an example. When it goes from minus 6 to minus 18, probably takes another hour or half an hour, depending what the product is. But in this example, from 0 to minus 6 might take an hour. So ice cream, pies, things that you think of, you think ice cream freezes very quickly because it's just been made, and I can freeze ice cream in, 10 minutes? Yes, I can crust freeze the ice cream in 10 minutes, but I cannot freeze the internal part of the ice cream for 2.5 hours. That's how long it takes to freeze a minus 8 ice cream to minus 18 core temperature. That's why it's vital to have a blast freezer that can do it, like Norvair. Also, things like fish and raw meat and the pies need to get through this area of non-change of temperature, internal temperature, as quickly as possible, so not to destroy the structure of the outside of the product. So, as an example, this product, this Norvair, can freeze fish and things like crustacea, like oysters, perfectly. And when they come back, they're back to a fresh oyster or a fresh piece of fish, and you couldn't tell the difference between the fresh piece of fish caught today and the one that came out of this blast freezer that was put in the freezer for 3 months. You could not tell the difference. It would be exactly the same. So we need to use these cycles for soft and hard freezing correctly. You can see you've got raw bread, but you can also do cooked bread, meat and fish, soups and sauces, exactly the same as these. And in later videos, I'll show you how to change these to become something different, personalised. This whole screen can be personalised for you, and we'll show you how. I hope you've enjoyed listening, and we'll come back to you with another video shortly. Thank you for joining in this video. If you need any more information, please refer to your manual, which comes with your machine.